Hey guys, I know a lot of you's tuned into my channel for tips and techniques and stuff like that, and I've been pretty lax about putting them out for the last 6, 8 months, for which I'm deeply sorry. I know a lot of you guys watching for it, but I just hadn't had a clue to where to go, basically. Um, but I've been thinking since I put up the last vid. If you guys see my last video, you'd seen that basically that guy is made up of a wire skeleton and is almost a pure sculpt. He's large for most part. You know, if you're looking at close to a 5-inch miniature, but I want to sort of go into making what it took to make him and let you guys see where how to build one. I know there's a lot better sculptors out there on the YouTubes, but I know a lot of you guys sort of want to see how I do stuff, and these will be my tips for the next while. To basically what I want to do is build a marine from wire and sculpting, and I'll just take you guys along on the trip and do it as sort of a tip video. Um, we'll still be throwing in some of the bashings, I like to call them, sort of chopped up bits and how to redo those. Thinking about going back through and redoing some of the older videos. I've rewatched a few of them over the past couple months and realized they're pretty bad videos. So maybe I'll try to update them a little bit, give you a little better look at them, and maybe throw in some stuff that I've learned in between. And so those tip videos will be coming too. But right now, what this video is about is just the introduction to where we're going to be doing here. Basically, we're going to start with some wires, some sculpting. We're going to start a marine. And just going to walk through steps. Basically, we're going to start with here's wire, here's some tools. That's where we're at tonight. I'm going to show you what kind of tools that I'll be using, just some different wires, and some different options maybe if you wanted to explore them. So that's where this video is going. And right now, I have to change the camera angle a little bit so you can see what I'm looking at basically. But in the upcoming videos, we'll be adding sculpting to it. I'll show you some different ways to prepare the sculpting to harden it. You don't have to actually have to bake it. There's other options to do. I'll show you those in the upcoming video. Then we'll start adding green stuff layers to it for details and fleshing out different parts. So stay tuned. Let me switch this camera angle. We'll start this puppy up and we'll try to get a video series out of it for you guys. Remember, leave me comments down at the bottom. I love reading them, and quite often I reply to a lot of them. So, like I say, leave any comments you can think of, and we'll talk to you guys in a little bit. So stay tuned. Be right back with some different tools. Okay, guys, here we go. As a shot across my dirty work desk. This is where my tools was at, so I figured I'd just pull the camera down here and let you see what we was looking at. For armature building, this is where we're going to start. So these are just a few of the basic tools to look for armature building. Is an armature. Like I said, this little guy here is considered a true scale. It's 28 millimeter skeleton that you can basically bend and shape into the position that you want because it's a real soft metal. And we'll go over more of him once we get started. But if you go looking on the internet to find armatures that are pre-made, look at the size. Like say, this guy here will be a true 28, which means all of his proportions or head to toe are normal for a human. So he's a normal human. So when you make the miniature, he's going to be a lot smaller and thinner and stuff like that. So you want to look for, if you want to build a marine, you can see the difference in the two of them side by side, foot to foot. The marine is a little taller and broader and thicker if he had a head and stuff like that. Excuse me, if his head was on and stuff like that. But the marine itself is considered a 30 millimeter miniature compared to the 28 true scale. And this is a 30 millimeter heroic, which means he's more comic book proportional. He's bigger, thicker, just generally a bigger miniature than what you would have at the true 28, which is the skeleton. The 30 mil true or heroic, the marine set on is where we're going to be building. But I just wanted to show you guys a quick look at an armature made just to be an armature. So these are great. It's already proportionally right and stuff. It comes with the head and everything's cut, so you know where the eyes are going to go, and the mouth, the nose, everything. The hands are there, which is a good little option for getting started. But where we're going to go is more of this scale here, and we're going to build the armature for this scale, since we're trying to build a marine and not a true fantasy miniature. So for making this guy here, what we're going to need is a nice thin gauge wire. This wire here is, you tell it's very thin. You can get thicker wire, which is like this stuff here, which is, it's just a jeweler for making jewelry. Actually, don't tell my wife, but this is some of her stuff that she considered was too thick, so I kept it. This is like a 10 gauge jewelry wire. She bought it at a craft store to make beads and jewelry and stuff. It was a little too heavy, so I kept it to make armatures with. You can buy actually armature wire, which is a lot more expensive. It's a little bit more heat resistant and stuff, but for what we're doing, it's not necessary. If you guys get to where you're really good and you want to continue on with the more advanced super sculptor type people you'll see here on YouTube, look into getting some of the more advanced armature wire. But for what we're doing, this will suffice. Like I say, this is just another piece of thin stuff for like earrings or whatever. And for our weight that we're going to be messing with, this right here will work fine. For working, great big miniature. Like say this guy here, he's about 5 inches tall. I used 10 gauge wire on him and then wrapped it with the thin stuff to get the green stuff to hold. But we'll get more into that in the armature part once we start building the armature. But depending on the weight of the stuff that you're casting with him, is on the gauge you're looking for. For making a 28 millimeter miniature, this small gauge will be fine. Just a real thin, super bendable wire to get him started. Also look into getting you a pair of clippers. These clippers here, for me, work the best. Also made for jewelry. This was a spare set my wife has, and I just sort of kept them. So she don't know they're missing yet, so don't tell her. But anyway, these were good because you got a good bevel cut for handling this thick, heavy wire. I mean, it'll just jump right in there and snap it. But it's also good because it's got the needle or tweezer point where you can grab the armature and bend the shape you want once you get your armature made. Which, it's good, that way you can just grab it, twist it, clip it, whatever you want to, and you're set. If you don't have a pair of these and just want to use just like the side cutters you already have, get you a decent set of tweezers. Like these are a good, just a set of just straight nose tweezers for getting in there and getting our pose. We're just taking you can bend. And this will get you right into the corners, because you can grab it with your finger and bend it, but it's going to give you a round bend. Where a good pair of tweezers will give you a good 90-degree bend, which is what, more what you're looking for, rather than just being able to bend it. This will distort our figure. So we want good sharp bends, so you need a pair of tweezers. As we start building, once we get the armature started, we're going to start getting into some super sculpting. This is a baking clay. What we'll end up doing is taking the super sculpting and helping flesh out our armature so we don't take as much green stuff, because this is a lot cheaper than green stuff. You get, like, this is a pound box, like $6-7. 100 grams of green stuff, $20. So this is a lot more easy to fill in big block areas. And like I say, once we get building, we'll get some of that going too. So the things to start off with is some wire, a good pair of cutters with tweezers, and some super sculpting. That'll get us started. So rather than make this thing last forever, I'm going to cut this video, and in part 2 we're going to pick up from the desk, and we're going to start cutting and making an armature. So you want to follow along or whatever. These are some of the tools to get us started. So stay tuned. More coming up. And like I said in the early video, I'll go back through and rehash some of the bit videos. But for now, we're going to be looking at doing full sculpts. So stay tuned. More to come.